it is time for another 5-point plan. I did one of these videos after AEW released the footage of CM Punk's scuffle. You can't even call it a fight. Scuffle with Jack Perry that cost AEW the biggest star they will ever have, and they're still reeling from it. Their highest rated episode of Dynamite in months was when they aired that footage, and it got over 800K. Now they're down to 502,000 viewers. You heard me right. 502,000 viewers. I don't even understand how that's possible, but that's what happened this week. NXT gets 700K, Dynamite got 500K. There was no NBA Finals game. I guess you can use Juneteenth as an excuse if you're desperate, but the reality is that AEW is struggling mightily right now. Most of it is because of their own doing, but here is another 5-point plan for how AEW can bounce back following the disastrous ratings for this week's Dynamite. Number 5, never, and I mean ever, mention CM Punk again on your television program. You can show little highlights of him when you're doing highlights of the Collision. They celebrated the 1-year anniversary and showed Punk in the video package. You can do that, but let's not take shots at him anymore because the Young Bucks are a fraction of as popular as CM Punk, and that completely backfired. So never mention him again. It was a mistake firing him. We all know it. Everybody knows it. Everybody with a brain knows you don't fire your biggest star without a plan, and that's what they did. So don't mention him again because it just reminds us that you fired him. Number 4, let's actually listen to the fans. Not all of them are just trying to tear your company down. Some of them are trying to supply constructive criticism to you, Tony Khan. Stop booking for Dave Meltzer and actually start booking for the fans that are tuning in every week that want to see these characters develop. We've been waiting for pushes for stars like Ricky Starks for ages. That's probably not going to happen. He's probably going to go to WWE. Ethan Page was someone who we saw with promo ability. You did nothing with him. Now he's in WWE. It's just build the characters. Stop booking for marks. Start booking for the casual fan, the people that are tuning in, who want to be invested in characters and watch them grow. We're not getting that on AEW right now, and it's very frustrating. Number 3, let's go with less cartoony villains, shall we? The Elite are supposed to be these monster heels, this monster heel faction here with Okada. They're giggling and in Dumb and Dumber suits on Dynamite. They aren't to be taken seriously. How could you take them seriously with the way they're presented? You want me to take the Elite seriously? Have them stop being cartoony and goofy. I don't understand the disconnect here. Everything's a laughing matter, and then you got the slogan, "We're the best wrestle." It's like I'm tuning in. We're supposed to see this badass wrestling program. I feel like I'm watching Mad TV or a terrible episode of SNL. So these sketch show cringeworthy backstage segments that have no production value at all need to be eliminated, and you need to focus on filming actual great segments that get fans to care and make the Young Bucks look like badass heels. Why are we portraying them as goofy characters? They're easy to write off, they're easy to not take seriously, and they're easy to not tune in to watch. Number 2, I've said it, it's kind of hinted at earlier, but you really have to go all in on these characters. You have to identify your future stars. Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland is a star, but you have to build them up as characters, get people emotionally invested. Are you emotionally invested in Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door, or are you just going to watch it because it's a good match? Because that means you were already going to likely buy the pay-per-view anyways. How are you attracting new fans with Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland? If you're not already tuning in, how are you getting people invested? Was the promo on Dynamite, did it go viral? Are people talking about Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland's promo? No, they're not. They're talking about that hit row line, which is a good line, but you need more stuff like that every week. You can't just rely on, here's Daniel Garcia versus some schmo. Like, who gives a shit? You need characters that people care about. You got them. You got the talent. Now someone has to have a pen with a pad and write down great ideas for these guys. Which brings me to my number 1 problem, which I think is unfixable. Tony Khan is not a good booker. He just isn't. He's a great matchmaker. Everybody's been saying this. He's not a good booker. He's a great matchmaker. But is he self-aware? That's my issue. Is he self-aware? Because I appreciate everything he's done for the wrestling business, but is he self-aware that this isn't really working? Because he has to take that step and admit that he needs help. He doesn't have to fire himself as the booker. He can hire someone as help behind the scenes, and we don't even have to know about it. We'll just be able to tell by watching. But at this point, you might as well announce it just to get some positive buzz. Tony Khan has hired X, whoever that person is, as the booker for AEW. And also, Christopher Daniels doesn't work as a GM. Like, what? Who's making these decisions? Tony Khan. Everything goes through Tony Khan, and he doesn't have a filter. We got freaking anarchy in the arena followed up with blood and guts, and nobody gives a shit about either, it seems. So the whole thing needs to change. These traditions he's trying to set up just aren't catching on, and it's unfortunate. There was a time where AEW was great to me. I was the biggest fan of the promotion, but after a while, I just kept seeing the same shit. Tony Khan needs to actually hire a booker for real this time. Hopefully this smacks him in the face, this rating, but I don't think it will. But that's the 5-point plan for AEW following the disastrous ratings for this week's Dynamite. Let us all hope that it goes up next week ahead of Forbidden Door, and that pay-per-view does well. I'm assuming it's going to get a similar amount of buys as always because they have a loyal fan base. But when you're trying to get a new TV deal, you're supposed to be attracting new viewers, not losing lump sums of them every week. So this is a disaster. So hopefully they can bounce back, but I'm not too optimistic.